What's up, Fathom Church? Welcome to the Going Deeper podcast. These are episodes that we just like to have conversations to hopefully help you go deeper in your relationship with God. I'm in the podcast studio with our missions minister, Karina Bost. Hello, Karina.
Hello, Kyle.
And our lead pastor, Chris Martin. Hello.
Buenos dias,
Buenos
senor.
dias. It's not Cinco de Mayo anymore.
No, it is not.
It's not. It is not. That is past, but you're still speaking Spanish to us. Thank you.
Well, this is an international podcast.
Sure.
We're crossing all kinds of borders in here.
It sure is. Hey, this week's episode, we're going to be talking about yoga. Chris, why are we talking about yoga?
Well,
there's a reason.
There is a reason. One is because somebody asked us about this. Yes. So
see, if you talk to us about episodes, we'll talk about them.
Yeah, if you can send us a question, or you can talk to us on Sundays and ask us a question, or tell your D group leader about we're happy to talk about stuff. So yeah, I've had this conversation a couple of times actually with different people in since I've been a pastor, asking the question of like, is it okay for me to do a yoga class? Like, is yoga compatible with a Christian worldview? Or is it problematic? Like, are the spiritual side, the spiritual kind of religious pieces of yoga and even its past, where it, originates and stuff like that, is that something that I need to be concerned about? Or if I go to, I don't know, the gym, Orange Theory, and I do a hot yoga class, I don't even know if they do that, but am I in some way betraying my relationship with Christ if I do that? Those are some of the questions that I think come.
Yeah. So let me ask you, why would somebody ask that? What is it about yoga? And we were talking about yoga, meditation, that kind of stuff. What is it about that and its origins that would make sense? I've never done yoga in my life, so I have no idea.
Okay.
But what is it about that a Christian might be like, ooh, pastor, is that something I should do or shouldn't do?
Well, I've never done yoga either. What about you, Karina?
No, I've never done yoga.
Yeah. Do you have an answer to Kyle's question, or
what was his question?
Why is yoga potentially?
Yeah, what would make somebody kind of like, what would make a Christian go, ooh, should I be doing that?
I think the question comes from because yoga is rooted in an Eastern worldview with roots in Hinduism and Buddhism. It's a Sanskrit word. Is that how you say that?
Sanskrit?
Sanskrit. I'm probably not saying it right.
That's okay.
Sounds right.
It's even in the language. And so I think it means unity, bonded. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. I read it. Anyways. So I think that the question comes from, with its roots in an Eastern worldview and religious world, like that kind of religion worldview. Is it okay if I participate it, or am I like participating in Hinduism by participating in yoga? I think that's why the question comes to the surface in Christian communities.
Yeah. That's good. So Chris, what else do you know of some of the background of?
Yeah. I mean, so the way that I've talked with people about this is they're asking like, are these elements in and of themselves problematic? So within, let's just say traditional yoga, and I don't know, I'm not speaking from a place of expertise. Okay. So somebody might be listening and they know way more about this, but let me just give you what I think I know. Okay.
Yeah. Again, we've not done yoga, so
stretching, breathing, and meditating, I think are three elements of yoga. Stretching is obviously there are physical poses and things that you do, but we might say, oh, well, what's the big deal with stretching? If you study kind of yoga philosophy, they actually they're intended to do something, not just stretching the muscles, but disconnecting you, cleansing you,
and the positions,
freeing you. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Now you can you do downward dog and just like, I don't know, stretch like a dog or something? Sure. Yeah. That's not doing yoga though. Like, stretching.
Right. We're not talking about like your stretches before a workout.
Well, but even doing
kind of stuff, but
even doing a certain pose is not doing yoga.
Right.
It's stretching. So
we're talking about actual yoga.
There's that piece. Okay. There's also like the breathing piece. And so a lot of breath work, which is again meant to help with, and there's plenty of like we'll do sometimes when I'm doing reflection and meditation and just prayer, I'm focusing on, like, there's a breath prayer that is a historical Christian practice. So but there are some yoga practices of breathing that's meant to try and like, push you beyond the physical, push you beyond some of the stuff that's going on. And then there's meditation. Now, meditation is an ancient practice that is both utilized in Eastern religions, but it's also utilized in Christianity. Like, historically, Christians have meditated. The main difference between Eastern meditation and Christian meditation is that Eastern meditation is about emptying your thoughts, cleansing, like getting rid of thoughts and trying to reach a state of enlightenment. Whereas, a Christian meditation is meant to fill your mind with the things of Christ. So you're meditating on Christ. You're meditating on the scriptures. You're meditating on Christ's sacrifice. And you're not trying to empty, you're trying to fill yourself with Jesus. So that's they're different. So, can you stretch and it not be yoga? Yes. Can you do breathing exercises and it not be yoga? Yes. Can you meditate and it not be yoga? Yes. Should you do yoga? I don't know. I don't know. Because sometimes those things actually are an entry point into spiritual practices that might be dangerous for the Christian to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my first stab at the idea. Our goal as Christians should not be the same goal that people who practice yoga have.
Mm-hmm.
Because our goal is not enlightenment. It's not getting away from the physical. It's not avoiding suffering. It's not like we have a different set of goals than those who practice Eastern traditional yoga. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think when I was looking into it and researching, in a sense, it's a religious practice because they're practicing achieving like the next level in reaching, emptying yourself, becoming nothing. And so I think there are a lot of pieces of it that I think we hear the arguments like, well, I'll just pray to Jesus instead. But I think you're right that you're entering into a space where you put yourself in a vulnerable position. You would never go to like a Muslim mosque and say, oh, no, I'm just here to practice Christianity. Like, you are just entering into a place that I think that you're putting yourself at a risk for deeper spiritual warfare than maybe you need to be. Like, I think if you really want to stretch. If you really want to meditate on the word of God, but that doesn't necessarily mean go to a yoga class.
Yeah. And I agree with both of you. And yeah, as you guys were both kind of talking about how it's, I mean, if you really trace yoga back to what it was first intentionally designed for, I was doing a little research too. And like in some Hindu traditions, like yoga is seen as kind of like one of like a sacrament to them. So like as we have communion and baptism, that's like, that was made as one of their sacraments. And so, yeah, Karina, you kind of said it, like, if we're seeing something that was actually created for a different religion to worship different gods and all that stuff, and if we kind of are doing the same thing, it's like that puts us in a position of like, oh, am I, like, whether we know it or not, like, I'm sure a lot of people go to yoga classes, and especially like Christians, and they're just like, yeah, I'm just like, maybe I focus on God during it. Like, oh, okay. But like, again, and we talk about this a lot on this podcast, it's a thing that if we're not careful, like, this was intended to be a worship for other gods and to empty yourself and to do all that and to get to a certain place. And it's like, I think we just need to be careful that it's like, oh, are we connecting ourselves to something that was intended for a totally different purpose?
There's another piece of this that would be worth just talking about. And so I think it's Piper who talks about minimalist and maximalist stuff. Have you, did you guys heard this
I
stuff?
read that article today.
Did you read an article about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So he talks about, like minimalist, there's two ways of kind of pursuing holiness, in the Christian life. One is the minimalist position where it's like, hey, I just want to do what I need to do to get by.
Mm-hmm.
And the maximalist is, I'm going to do everything in my power to move towards holiness and avoid not like, so this kind of plays into our conversations about whether things are, matters of conscience or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like, let's just say the minimalist might say, should I drink alcohol? The minimalist would say, that's totally fine. You know, it's not unholy. Don't get drunk, but it's not unholy. The maximalist would say, does drinking alcohol bring you closer to Christ-likeness?
Mm-hmm.
And the maximalist would say, if the answer is no, then you should avoid those things,
Mm-hmm.
even if they are not sin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying one way or the other on this, but is yoga or stretching or breathing or like whatever, is it a minimal? Are we going to take a minimalist view on this and just say, yeah, it doesn't have to be bad. So yeah, it is a matter of conscience. You can stretch if you want to. Or are we saying, is this something that is actually drawing me closer to Christ? Now, someone might say, yeah, actually, I do meditate on Christ as I'm stretching in a hot room with a stinky mat. Okay, right. You fine. Though I do think it's wise to just say, is this actually stirring up my affections for Christ, or is it robbing me of affection for Christ?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to yoga, yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do think this ends up probably being a matter of conscience.
Mm-hmm.
I would tread lightly on it because it does seem to be a potential for danger.
Mm-hmm.
But so is alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
There's potential for danger there. There's potential for danger in lots of things that could be matters of conscience.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just issue warning. I would issue wisdom, exercising wisdom in this, probably talking with people, considering your motives, considering what you're trying to accomplish. Just because you feel refreshed or like clairvoyant or like oh, it just, it really like makes me centered. Okay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually tighter with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Like that may not be the same as Christ likeness.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a piece to think about in this as well.
Yeah. Two of the questions in the maximalist view that I thought were really helpful was, one, is it stirring in me the holiness of Christ?
Mm.
And also, is it leading me to reject Satan's hand in the world? And I thought those were two very helpful, because it's not just about like, I'm using this time for Jesus. It's like, is Jesus using this time in me? And am I rejecting what Satan is doing in the world? And I think those are things to consider as well.
Yeah. I think, again, it all comes back to, I feel like for me, it's kind of like an intentions sort of thing. Like if you're going to go do a yoga class and you're just sitting there breathing and stretching, like where is your mind at? Is your mind on Christ? Is your mind on good things like that? Or are you in a yoga class where they're repeating different phrases? Like there's things that are said sometimes. Actually, I was watching a YouTube video on this, and there was a former yoga instructor, I guess that's what they call him, for like, he did it for like 20 years and he just became a Christian and he stopped it. And he has this whole video on like how terrible it is.
Interesting.
And it like very like all the things that yoga instructors, if you're actually practicing yoga, again, the Eastern traditions of yoga, he's saying like some of the things that are said like go completely against Christianity and like that, and he like breaks it all down and how Christians should not be going anywhere close to it. So, but again, if you're going to the yoga studio down the street and they're not chanting different things or whatever like that, then maybe it is just a matter of your intentions and what's going on in your heart. And everything.
Yeah. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be wise. Keep your head on a swivel. Like, don't be spiritually ignorant in this one.
Yeah.
Additionally, this could be a Romans 14 matter of conscience issue. And so it might be also worth our time to just say, this is probably isn't something where you want to cast a lot of judgment on people who do practice yoga. It just, it might be something that you'd say, hey, tell me about this. Like, let's talk about it. But it might be a bearing with one another issue. Just be careful not to, it's like Halloween, right? We talked about Halloween, I don't know, last year or whatever, trying to superimpose your decision on other people, might be a bit of a stretch in that. Let's see what I did there. Nice. Might be a bit of a stretch in this situation, in this case. Because we don't want to add to the text. We don't want to, but we also want to be wise and discerning in these sorts of things. So I just think that's probably where I would land with.
Yeah. I also think in America, we throw around the word yoga and it doesn't always, like, gyms just use it. It's trendy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this is a yoga class, but really it's just a stretching class.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we can't reject everything that is, that isn't like birthed in the Christian movement. Right. Like pagan, Christmas, it's pretty well known that like most of our Christmas, tradition, like trees and stuff, it's like rooted in Norse paganism. And we'd have to get rid of everything. Like you can't even call Easter because that's rooted in new life spring rituals. Like it's just all we can't be totally crazy on this stuff, but we do want to exercise wisdom. So I think just thinking, praying, being in community, talking with people about it. What are you trying to accomplish? Those are good questions to ask yourself if you want to or have or continue to practice stretching. Formerly known as yoga. Christian stretching.
Christian stretching. We're going to start having a yoga class here.
No, that's not true. I'm not flexible.
Stretching class. We're just going to stretch.
I think stretching is valuable.
That's probably good for you. I don't think there's a lot of people who are like, you should never stretch.
I need to stretch more.
Jesus did a lot of walking. Bro's got to, have some, he's probably working out his calves a little bit,
Get you a foam, got himself a foam roller.
Got a foam roller. After that long walk through Capernaum. Yeah. It's like, man, got to roll my thighs out.
Oh, we need to end this. That was a good episode, guys. Thank you for that conversation. Again, if you have topics, come and talk to us. Maybe it'll be the next episode that we talk about. So, we'll talk about anything as you can see.
We're running out of we're getting into the weird zones in some of these conversations.
We're getting weird. But it's fine. We'll get weirder.
Yeah, we'll have fun.
It's all good. Thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you, church, for listening, and we'll see you next time.